Good morning, Bitcoin hodlers. Hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend and a happy Sunday morning. Just wanted to go ahead and drop another video on you. Got a time to do a little cleaning on the NerdQAxe++. I was moving the miner around, and what do you know, got a little power glitch on it. Essentially, it just overheated, and it was time to go ahead and give it a cleaning and go ahead and give it a break. It had been running over, I think, 32 days straight, and I hadn't really cleaned it probably in the last month. So it's really built up a lot of dust, and I've got a couple dogs, so naturally it's going to build up a little bit of pet hair in the fans. So I just decided to go ahead and make a video on how to completely do a cleaning on this, and then we're going to also go ahead and do a thermal paste reapplication. So it's going to be a two-part video. So we're going to go ahead and just get started off by getting it basically a few things taken down off of the stand, and then we'll go ahead and start the cleaning. So we are going to be using Noctua thermal paste. This is the 3.5 gram NTH2. It's one of their newer thermal paste. Really good results on my Bitronics Gamma 601. When I repasted it with this, really took care of all the heating issues. So we'll be using that. Set that aside. Got some Noctua wipes. These are essentially just alcohol wipes. I had these extra laying around, so I've just been using them up. You don't have to buy the Noctua brand ones, but they are pretty nice. They're large size, good quality wipes. You can get all this on Amazon as well. Boom. All right. You're gonna need Q-tips. Cleaning. Definitely gonna need those to get in and out. Compressed air. Good thing to have. Don't get it in your mouth from breathing in around the cleaning, because it just tastes like terrible shit, to be honest with you. Excuse my language. And then we're also gonna go ahead and need a screwdriver. Gonna need a flathead, just a small flathead. And what this is for is just to release the pin, or not pin, but the clip holding the fans, front and rear. Just makes it a little bit easier. Go ahead and bring this over to us. Also got some scissors here to take down the zip ties that I have the rear fan held up by. So we have this nice NerdQAxe++. This is by Bitronics out of Spain. I've had this for a while. Really nice miner. I added the upgraded Noctua front fan and the rear fan. And then the stand is from CryptoCloaks.com. It's a custom stand, as you can see, the BitcoinNurse. You can essentially put whatever you want, pick whatever colors. CryptoCloaks.com makes some really good stuff. I've already got one zip tie taken down here. That's from where I removed the power cord. So that's why it's a little flimsy. That's intentional. And then we're gonna go ahead and just take this down. So go ahead and zip the zip tie there. We got our rear fan. The rear fan is a 80 millimeter NFA8 fan, if anybody's interested. Set that aside. Use your small flathead screwdriver. And what you're going to do is you're just going to get right in where that clip is, right there, that white clip. And you just very gently remove that. We'll set that aside. We'll do the same thing with the front fan. Now, with just basic cleanings, you don't always have to do this, but I'm doing this because I'm going to be removing the fan. As you can see, there's a few clips here. Go ahead. And there's two ways you can do it. You can either pull from the back side or you can unclip the front. It's just whatever is easier. Take it out of the stand first. As you can see. It's these black clips that are holding the fan to the heatsink. Wow, look at that. Talking about dirty. Y'all, I keep my place super clean, but like I said, after a few months, this is an intake. So, I mean, if you're thinking like a car, imagine this being the front of your car, right? And it's sucking in air. Well, it's gonna suck in everything, as you can see. So this is some really nasty stuff. But hey, guess what? That's what we're here for. We're gonna go ahead and start getting this cleaned up. So we'll set the miner here. You can go ahead and just remove these clips. And we'll set those aside. There's our front fan. Now we've got our nice and dirty heatsink. Look at that. That's just terrible. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just blow this off real quick. I'm not gonna do that on camera since the sound of me blowing it, I know you don't wanna hear it. So we'll go ahead and do a little movie magic and we'll be right back at you. Alrighty, friends, we're right back at you. We got that dust cleaned off there. It's looking a lot better. We're gonna go ahead and take that Noctua wipe, and then we're gonna go ahead and just wipe down this heat sink really well. You can actually take it back out of the stand, make it a little easier. And we're just really getting it cleaned up, getting that crud off there. Just a buildup of dust and maybe the occasional bug here and there that may have gotten sucked in. Leaving the door open to my place, you know, where these are at. You know, what are you gonna do, right? Like I said, this is just an alcohol wipe, so just wiping, just give everything a little wipe down the outside. It doesn't hurt to just gently wipe the back of that board a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Put that in its cradle. BitcoinNurse, absolutely. We'll go ahead and bring our fans over here. Now, what I went ahead and did off camera, get you a Q-tip, and just go ahead and get you a real good wiping on each of those blades. And you just want to get that buildup off there. And you're just going to repeat that. And then you can take your Noctua wipe, alcohol wipe. You can just wipe those blades. You don't have to do this every time, you know, you clean your miner. This is probably like the first time I've actually wiped it down with an alcohol wipe, maybe the second, just because it needed a good cleaning. You could see it obviously in the video how bad it was, and that was really, like I said, maybe a month and a half worth of dust collection. So we've got a NerdQAxe, BitAxe, any type of miner, anything that's sucking in dust, you got to clean it. So pretty simple stuff, but you know, stuff we don't always think about. You know, you think of these things kind of like any other electronic almost, but you know, if you want to keep it functioning at the highest capacity possible, doing the best job, cooling to the best, getting that most efficient hash rate that you can out of your Bitcoin miner investment, that's what you want to do. So that one looks clean to me. Set that back there. We'll do the same thing here. Alrighty, so we're all done there, cleaned up, looking good. Like I said, just getting the last bit of any little dust build up that you got in there. And y'all, I don't smoke or vape or anything, but if you do, if you smoke, vape, whatever, yeah, you're gonna wanna clean more often because this stuff will just, these fans are like anything and they'll just attract grime. So give them a good cleaning, good wiping down. Set that back there. Alrighty, next step. Remove from the cradle, set that aside. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna remove the miner from the case. So to do that, first thing you need to do is remove the display. This is the LilyGo display. Just wanna be careful with the pins, very gently rocking it back and forth. And there you can see those fine pins. You just wanna be really careful. We're just gonna sit that aside. Now we've got access to that top corner screw. There's 4 screws. So we're gonna need a Phillips head. Go ahead and swap this out. And guys, you know, this may look intimidating to some, but it's really easy. There's not a whole lot to it. Just some very basic computer mechanics, you know, of keeping things clean, keeping things organized. These last screws in here. Okay. Almost there, guys. And you want to be gentle with your miners. You don't want to be rough on these. It may seem like I may be a little rough with this, but I'm trying not to. I've done this a number of times. And it's just, you know, they're delicate, but they're not. They're tough too at the same time. So screws are removed. It's a tight fit in this case. And that's it. Pleb power, baby. CryptoCloaks.com. Crypto Cloaks on X. Bitcoin Nurse. So we're gonna get that case. You can have it say whatever you want, pick any colors you want. There you go. And now we have the NerdQAxe ++ miner with no display, no fan, just the board, the heatsink. So let's go ahead and just give it a little wipe. We got some dust here on the board. Be really gentle here. These V-regs. These coolers here. Alrighty. Next stop. To remove the cooler, because underneath this cooler is the ASIC chips. And on those chips, we're gonna reapply some thermal paste. So we're gonna go ahead and remove these Phillips head screws on the back. As you can see, these are a silver, so these are a little bit different than the ones that we removed the board from the case. So just to keep that in mind when you're putting everything back together. Since I'm removing the pressure off these chips, I'm just kind of taking it in a star pattern. Not really necessary when removing, but you know, just being conscientious of it. When we torque it down, it'd be more important. So you just want to hold these two things together, your board and the heat sink, and then you can lift off. And that's it. So what you saw just fall off there is just the cooler adapter, which is held in place like such. And that's the old thermal paste. So go ahead and just set this aside. Go ahead and get us another one of those Noctua wipes, alcohol wipes. All right. Making good work of this, y'all. So go ahead and start with the cooler. You just want to give that a good wiping. Now, this thermal paste, as you can see, this stuff is like liquid cement. I mean, it just, what I mean by that is it just sticks to everything. If you get it on your fingers, whatever, just be prepared to have fun trying to get it off, wiping it off. We'll just let that dry. Right there. And we'll go ahead and get one more wipe. Tell you what, Noctua knows how to do their packaging. It's like the most thorough packaging for some alcohol wipes I've ever seen. I work in healthcare. But, hey, more power to them. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thermal paste off the ASIC chip. So, NerdQAxe++ is 4 chips. BM1370 ASIC chips, I believe these are. Where the NerdQAxe Plus, the earlier generation, has the BM1368 ASIC chips. If I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And y'all, you know, I'm not an expert by any means. Nobody pays me to do these videos. I do them out of fun. I do them because I enjoy solo Bitcoin lottery mining and just the technology behind this. I've always been a nerd, always been a geek when it comes to computers, computer parts, you know, anything related to technology. So that all being said, if there's anything I say wrong or doing, you know, I'm trying to give you all the most accurate information. So if there's anything that needs correcting, please let me know in the comments. I am always open to constructive feedback. Try not to be one of these assholes that doesn't say anything or thinks I knows everything, because that's furthest from the truth, y'all. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let that dry. Let's let that air dry, as you can see, nice and clean. We'll be right back at you as that dries. Okay, hodlers, Bitcoin Nurse back at you again. We've got those ASICs nice and clean, as you can see. NerdQAxe++, 4 chips. Cooler is nice and clean. Thermal paste time. Noctua NTH2 3.5 gram thermal paste. It's a good stuff. It doesn't take a whole lot either. Okay. And guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get just a good little amount on there. That was a little much. Yeah, these Q-tips suck. That's okay. That is all right. The big thing about getting this pasted on here is I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Getting messy. Thermal paste wants to get everywhere. And then naturally when you're trying to make a video and show other people how to do something, it's going to be inherently always more difficult, you know? Gotta love life, universe. Thank you very much. Okay. That being said, thermal paste is on there. Clean up just a little bit of that. Yeah, looking good. Next thing you want to do, this is your cooler adapter. Essentially that is just, it's the mounting bracket to hold it to the board. So you place that on there first after you got your thermal paste applied to your chips. Then you take your cooler. As you can see, the direction on this is, well, doesn't really matter which direction you put it on. And we'll go ahead and get this seated. Like such. Getting these screws started is the fun part. Okay. Just want to be an extra big pain in the ass today, I can see. Alrighty, it's all about getting one of these screws going, get everything lined up. And you're trying to hold everything in place with the chips, the adapter, the new thermal paste, and the board, which is all cool. You don't want to screw these, put these screws in too tight. You know, you just want to get them nice and snug. Okay. And there you have the cooler is reattached, new thermal paste. Everything's looking good. We'll go ahead and get our front fan. Let's see, how do we want to orientate this on here? Go ahead like that. Yeah. And we'll get our clips. You can see that clip, it's got like an L. You're just gonna kind of hook that right there. Well, bringing out all the stops for y'all today. All right, do it again. Okay. There we go. Now this is a thicker fan that I'm running on here intentionally, and I'm using the same clips, so it's got a lot of tension when you put the clips on. So that's why it was shooting out of my hand, trying to hook it on here. Okay, we'll go ahead and hook that. So you can see what I'm doing here a little bit better. Sometimes it's better just to go ahead and hook it on both sides and then kind of just bring that on there like that. You're not really hurting anything with the cooler. It's just got some tension on there. Okay. Looks good. And you can get aftermarket coolers for these miners. You know, you can get all sorts of aftermarket pieces. It's all about how much money you want to spend, essentially. Go ahead and hook that in right there. Okay, starting to look a little bit like a miner again. I like to just make sure everything's kind of lined up, a little OCD that way. Go ahead and get our case. We're going to slip that in like such. Okay. Get our screws. So you can install the fan onto the cooler before or after you do the case. Just be noted that some of these screws can be a little bit more difficult to get to once you have everything kind of put together. As you can see, the screws are not wanting to be as cooperative today. Last one. Okay, miner is put together. And like I said, guys, you are not like super torquing these screws down into the case and onto the board. You just want to be a little fragile with it. Okay, put together. Now we can add the display. Okay, got that white down. You want to just carefully line that up. Check for resistance, making sure everything is lined up in there. And this is a tight fit case, so when you put the display in, you don't want to over press the corners. You just want to make sure everything is kind of even here and here. Alrighty, y'all, we got that display added on here. Everything's hooked back up. I did go ahead and slip the rear fan back onto the case, and essentially that just attaches with a zip tie like such. I decided to use zip ties instead of screws, because I feel that it's better than removing screws in and out of the case and it, you know, essentially messing up the case over time just due to simple cleaning. So essentially this is just installed like such. I have one zip tie off because I'm going to put my power cable through the rear here. Got a power cable management, and then we'll zip tie that at the final location where it's going to be resting and doing its work. So this is what we got. NerdQAxe++, fully clean, new thermal paste. Looking good, looking good. Like I said, once you put that zip tie on the other side, that's how it looks. Sucking in cool air, cools the rear of that board. So